over this slide, or do you want me to move past it?
I can go over it if you want. So again, the SBDC, we're here for new and established businesses. We offer free counseling, free resources, and help you as much as we can. So really utilize us. And if you want to sign up for one-on-one counseling, just reach out to me and I can send you the link.
Okay, great. I went backwards. Okay, so hi everyone, my name is Sabrina Pelletier and I'm an account manager at JSCOP Marketing. Today we're going to talk about the best practices for a social media influencer marketing campaign. So we are going to review the basics of what an influencer marketing campaign is, but for more information, you can go back and watch the webinar, How to Start Working with Influencers, which was presented by Julie Lafretti on July 23rd, 2020. So just visit the URL. I'll leave it up for just a minute on the screen. And you'll just scroll all the way down to July 23rd, 2020, and you'll find the recorded webinar and the slide decks. And she did a great presentation covering all of the basics and all the different types of influencer marketing. So it's a great presentation if you're looking for more of the basics. And also, if you have any questions, as Elena pointed out in the chat, just type them in the chat and I'll address them as they come up. So let's start out by answering the question, what is influencer marketing? So influencer marketing is a type of marketing that uses endorsements and product mentions from influencers. Influencers are people who have a dedicated social following. I do want to clarify that just because someone has a lot of followers or not a lot of followers, it doesn't make them a potential good or bad partnership. It really depends on the quality of their social following, such as do all their followers engage with their posts and stories? If not, they really aren't a good influencer per se, because to influence people to buy something, those people who are following you have to trust you. But we'll go over what to look for to vet influencers shortly. And if you're not familiar with social media influencers, I'll show you some on Instagram. So there are foodie influencers, fashion and lifestyle influencers. There are even mommy bloggers, so people who have families who blog about all the things that they're doing to keep their kids engaged during this time, etc. There are also Disney bloggers, travel bloggers. I'm positive there are car influencers, skincare influencers, nutrition and lifestyle and fitness influencers. And there's so much more. It just takes a little digging on the right platform. We're going to go over, what we're going to go over today applies most directly to Instagram influencers, but the basic principles can be taken and applied to all platforms. So why work with an influencer? Like I mentioned before, it's because they have influence over their audience. If they've built their following right, their audience trusts them and their recommendations. They might even look at the influencer as a friend. If you partner with the right influencer for your business, it will lead to exposure, which can lead to sales and loyal new customers that you may not have been able to reach before. All right, so that was a quick overview. Now let's dive into some best practices for your influencer campaigns from start to finish. So I'll walk you through how to find influencers all the way to after you've finished up the partnership, they've posted what you wanted to social media, what do you do next? So your first step after you decided to look into influencer marketing is to find influencers. Finding the right influencers to partner with your brand is the most important part of crafting a successful influencer campaign. The concept seems simple, but if it can be really hard if you're not sure where to start because there's a lot out there on the internet. So when finding an influencer, you first need a baseline of what you should be initially looking for. This does not include vetting the influencer. That'll be the next step, but these are just some good signs that this influencer may be a potential good match. So you're first going to want to look to make sure they have at least 5,000 to 6,000 followers or somewhere in that ballpark range. While the amount of followers does not correlate with a quality influencer, you do want to make sure you're going to get something out of the partnership. And that they're actually a somewhat dedicated influencer that isn't just doing this for a month and then gets bored and forgets about the account. Next, you're going to want to review their feed. So are their photos relatively good quality? You want to make sure the photos the influencer takes puts your business products in the best light, and good quality photos can help do that. You're also going to want to check if they use stories and story highlights. The more mileage you can get out of a partnership, the better. So if they're posting on their feed and to stories and are willing to save those stories they share featuring your business to their highlights, that's simply extra exposure for you. And then you get more out of the partnership, which is fantastic. On their post, you're going to want to check if they tag businesses and use location tags. So depending on your business, location tags may not be important, but you do want to make sure that they tag businesses they partner with to make it easy for their followers to find you. Because as we all know, consumers can tend to be a little bit lazy, so you have to make things as easy as possible for them to hit the follow button for your profile or click the buy button ideally. Lastly, you're going to want to check to make sure they're active. So a lot of accounts in the past have gotten started with the best intentions to keep it going, but sometimes the person running the account gives up or isn't able to dedicate enough time to post as often as they might need to truly build a connection with their audience, which is the most important part. So we recommend reviewing their posts to make sure they're posting at least 2 to 3 times a week. This means they're actively trying to engage with their followers, which is a good sign. So now that we've gone over what you should look for in an influencer, I want to take a moment to apply these rules with some examples. So get ready to type in the chat. So assume you're a food business of some sort and you stumble across this profile while you're looking for an influencer partnership. So use the rules we just went over. Would you put them on your potential partnership list, assuming they post regularly and tag businesses? So you can just simply type a yes or a no based on their profile. All right, Kimberly says yes. Okay, so that's great. Yes, Kimberly, I agree. I would definitely put this blogger on my list. They have a solid following, good images, and they are actively using stories and highlights, which we can tell from the orange and reddish pink circle around her profile image. So let's do another one. Okay, so same thing. Assume you're a business that appeals to moms or families and you stumble across this profile. Using the rules we just went over, would you put them on your potential partnership list, assuming they post regularly and tag businesses? All right, so yes, I would definitely put this blogger on my list. Her photos are light and bright, and she is actively using stories and highlights, and she seems to have a defined audience, which will get your business's product in front of the right people. So let's just do one more. So assume your business appeals to the gluten-free community and you stumble across this profile using the rules we went over. Would you put them on your potential partnership list, assuming they post regularly and tag businesses? Type in the chat yes or no. Okay, great. So this is a blogger I would probably pass on. Because their following is very low. Their images are okay, but not great. And they do have a typo in their Facebook link, it appears, along with not having a bio at all. I would put them on a research spreadsheet and check back the next time I'm looking for influencers to see if their following has grown and if they made some changes. But we're all new to something at one point, and the only way to learn is by doing. So I wouldn't write them off completely. Pam asks, should their profile list them as an influencer? So they don't necessarily have to say influencer, but there should be a little bit something more that indicates that they are into blogging of some kind or being an influencer. So if we go back to this example. So Lindsay in her title has life and style blogger. She also has somewhat of a more built out bio with style, beauty, motherhood. She's a mama of two, homeschool. So she has kind of more of a defined bio. And even with this foodie influencer, she has, sorry about that. She has influencer in her title or digital creator right underneath, as you can see here. So anything like that to indicate that they're potentially open to partnerships is ideal. But there's no clear and cut way of how to do it. But I would definitely say that this profile needs a little bit of work before they're completely ready to move forward with partnerships. Okay, so great. So now we know what to look for, but how do we find these influencers? Well, there's no better way to find influencers than to do a deep dive on Instagram. The best way we've come across quality influencers are by looking through the company we're looking for to create partnerships with, tagged photos. So if on Instagram to the very right of your profile, you can look through all photos that have people have tagged you in. So influencers that have visited your business without a contract or agreement are the best influencers to partner with because you know they love your brand already and will likely be an easy partner to work with. You can also look at your competition. So much like advertising, you want to be where your competition is. So look at who your competitors are reposting images from and who is tagging them in images and try to get in on that action. You can also look at the profiles of top influencers. So if you know of relatively large influencers in the area, you can go to their profiles. Influencers often support influencers. So go to the profile of a top influencer you know of that's in the niche that you're looking for and search through their followers, their following, their comments, and their likes. And you're likely going to find a lot of accounts that aren't a good match, but you're also going to find a hidden gold mine of micro influencers you may not have found otherwise. Another thing you can do is search on Instagram with keywords and hashtags. So depending on the category they're in, influencers often use relatively standard set of hashtags or keywords in their bio, as we just saw, so they can be found and build a following. So try searching Instagram for hashtags and words like RI food or using the hashtag RI food, Rhode Island life, if that's the area you're looking for, Rhode Island or any other state. But search this under accounts and not top tags or places as you like there's a couple tabs right under the search bar. So just click accounts and look for accounts with the location word you're looking for. And then you can also search other relevant words for types of bloggers you're looking for, such as mommy blogger, skincare blogger, travel blogger, whatever you're looking for really. You can also search for influencers online, so just on Google or Bing or whatever you use. So you can Google something simple as bloggers in the Providence area or any location. And this will help turn up influencers that you may not have found through your search on Instagram. You can also add more details to this search to try and find specific types of influencers, such as travel bloggers in the Providence area, etc. And you can also use online directories for influencers such as influence.co. Those often turn up some interesting influencers that you may not have found otherwise. They may not be as active on social media, but maybe they have a very robust blog and like a website that they have a large following for. So it's a way to find influencers and bloggers that may not be as active on social media, but have a really large presence in another way. So having a list of potential influencers is great, but vetting them is very important because things are not always as great as they appear. So there are 4 main things you're going to want to do before you reach out to an influencer about a partnership. The first place we suggest looking to vet an influencer is at their followers and following. There are a few things you want to keep an eye out for as you're scrolling through these followers and following list. And this includes, first off, fake accounts. So detecting fake accounts is relatively easy. Looking for large numbers of accounts with spammy names such as bots for free or likes for free, and accounts without profile images. The accounts also typically have 0 posts, and they may not have any followers, but they follow a large number of people. These profiles are typically what are called engagement bots, and they're not owned by real people, but they're owned by machines. They inflate the follower count and engagement on posts, making influencers look more popular than they are. You're also going to want to look out for the demographics of who is following the influencer as you're scrolling through their following list. It's one thing to assume your ideal customers are following an influencer, but when you're vetting an influencer, you really want to take a closer look. So while scrolling through their followers, know whether there's a lot of males or females. Do they appear young or old? Do they reside close to your business if that's important? These are all things you can ask for proof of once you decide to contact the influencer, but checking beforehand can really save you some time. And lastly, you're going to want to look at the businesses they follow. It's a good sign when an influencer is following you or businesses like yours. This points to a greater potential for the partnership to work out. So next, you're going to want to check if their voice aligns with your brand. So just like brands, influencers have their own voice, and it's important to make sure that aligns with your brand's voice. So for example, there's an Instagram account called Buns and Bites here in Rhode Island. They're wildly successful and they do a great job. But as you can see, they're all about featuring foods with their buns. And they have a significant following. As I said, they receive fantastic engagement, but you do have to consider if their voice fits your brand. So for a more formal business, this partnership may not be a good match, but still for other businesses, it could be a fantastic avenue. So just remember to stay true to your brand and only move forward with influencers that feel like a match for your demographic that you're trying to reach. So next, let's dive into the influencer's feed to see what's really going on. Consider how many likes and comments their posts typically get. If they're an account with 20,000 followers but are only receiving 50 likes per feed post and a handful of comments, red flags should be flying. This brings up a lot of questions about the quality of their following, but it's also important to remember that influencers are battling the Instagram algorithm as we all are. So while you do want to see a healthy amount of likes on their feed posts, you might also want to reach out to get the engagement and reach of their stories, because it may be that their feed isn't getting much traction, but their stories are. And you're also going to want to consider the quality of their likes and comments, no matter how many they're getting. So again, it's all about the quality of their stats. When you're looking at their likes and comments, look for bot accounts and mass amounts of generic comments, such as nice with a thumbs up emoji, and also comments that don't make sense with the content of the photo, such as if it's a photo of them cooking pasta and someone comments, I love your sunglasses, but they're not wearing sunglasses. It could be that that is a generic comment written by a bot. Also assess who is commenting on the post. If you only see the same accounts over and over, the influencer might be in what's called an engagement pod. An engagement pod is a group of Instagrammers that have come together to agree to engage with each other's content to help with the algorithm. And this isn't an immediate red flag, but it is something to consider, that their engagement may be inflated by these engagement pods. So next, you're going to want to analyze their previous partnerships. While you're scrolling through their profile, you're going to want to make a mental note of the brands they're working with. If you continue to see the same brands time and time again, you've likely found a good influencer to partner with because they've made a brand happy and the brand has continued to work with them. So now that we've gone over the vetting process, which is making sure everything checks out, let's look at those influencers we put on our yes list from the examples before. Okay, so here's that foodie influencer. Now, if we assume their followers and following check out, the comments are quality, what do we think? Should we reach out to them and take the next step? Just type yes or no in the chat. All right. Yes, I would say yes as well. They tag businesses, they use location tags, and they have a great amount of likes for their following and a decent amount of comments. All right, let's just look at the other influencer. So what do we think? For background, many of her other posts do have a similar amount of engagement. Would we move forward? Yes or no? All right. So Sue says yes. And I agree, but I am also a little suspicious of her followers. It's strange that she has almost 20,000 followers, but has only received 100 likes and 14 comments. In that example we just looked at before with the foodie influencer, she has 14,000 followers and received almost 1,000 likes. So that's a little strange. I would reach out and ask for her to provide some more information on her follower insights. I'd also like to see the engagement her followers have on stories. If there isn't much engagement on stories either, I would probably pass on partnering with her at this time because I'm just not sure the ROI would be there for the investment in the partnership. Because you want to make sure if you're going to take the time to build a partnership, whether it's just a barter partnership, so you're sending her your product for her to feature it, you're not paying her anything extra, it's still a time that you're investing, and you're investing in sending her the product, which obviously costs you some money. So you just want to make sure that the reach that you're going to get out of that post is going to be there, and I'm just not sure it is with this blogger. So now that we've talked about how to vet them, how to find them, you're ready to partner with an influencer. So how do you move forward? So first you're going to want to reach out, and then you're going to want to reach out again. So just like with news reporters, sometimes you have to poke the bear a few times to receive a response. If you reach out to an influencer and you don't hear back after about a week, reach out via the same method of communication. And if you still don't hear back, try a different method of communication. So if you reached out via DMs, reach out via email. And if they still don't respond and they're a relatively small influencer, it may be just time to move on. Next, after they've responded, you're going to want to set expectations. So it's important to be upfront and set expectations right away with influencers while being respectful that for some of them, this is their full-time job and they need to make money from their partnerships. So if you're reaching out hoping for an in-kind partnership, so like a barter partnership, say that. It's also important to lay out what you would like to get in return for providing your end of the bargain. So for example, I will give you a dozen donuts if you post once to your feed and cover stories during your entire visit with us. So you want to be clear so the influencer can decide if this partnership makes sense for them as well. This is also where you should request more information about their following, including screenshots of their feed and story engagement, their activity tab information and insights, and their audience stats. This will ensure that what you saw during your vetting process checks out. All right, so create an agreement document for clarity next once you've decided to both move forward with a partnership. It may seem silly in some cases to create an agreement document for a barter partnership, but still, whenever you're engaging in a partnership of any kind, we highly recommend drafting a brief agreement for both parties to review. The agreement should outline what each party will provide and any additional terms you may want. If you'll be paying the influencer money for their post, outside of providing them with product or whatever else, outline when the payment will be sent, such as after the influencer's agreements have been fulfilled. I also just want to say we at JSM are not lawyers, so this is not legal advice. Again, not legal advice. If you're looking for legal advice or on contracts, please visit a lawyer. Don't take our word for it, but generally you should have some kind of agreement. Okay, and then great. So now you've secured the partnership. Everyone's happy with what you've decided on, but now what? So you're going to want to confirm they have what they need. If an influencer is visiting your place of business, reach out to the influencer to confirm their visit 24 to 48 hours before, to ensure that they're still able to make it, especially for barter partnerships. Sometimes other events pop up that make it so the influencer has to reschedule. So confirming their visit helps both parties be prepared. Once they confirm that they'll be coming, let them know any details that might make their visit go smoothly, such as who to ask for when they arrive. And if you sent something in the mail to an influencer or provided information to them via email or phone, reach out to confirm they received the package or information they need to move forward with their end of the bargain. And also, if you are sending something via mail, we highly recommend keeping the tracking information so you can see when the package arrives on your end, as well as reaching out and confirming with them, because unfortunately, some influencers do receive the package and claim they haven't, so they can get another one. So it's good for you to protect yourself as much as possible. Okay, so if the influencer is visiting your place of business, this is one thing I have to stress. Make sure you inform your staff. There is nothing worse than an influencer walking in and no one knowing that they're supposed to be there or what to do with them. It makes it awkward for the influencer, it makes it awkward for your staff. So make sure to give your staff a heads up, even if you're going to be there, to ensure the influencer's visit goes well. And lastly, give them your attention, but don't hover. You've partnered with them to do a job, so let them do it. Hovering over your visiting influencer or constantly emailing them to check in can hinder their experience with your brand and make them feel uncomfortable. So give them the space to do whatever it is that they do, but check in now and then as you might with any customer. Okay, so your partnership has come to an end. They've promoted your product on social and you're ready to wrap everything up. So here are some best practices to do just that. So first and foremost, thank them for their time and ask for their feedback on how they liked your products, your business, your staff, etc. This simple messaging can keep the influencer feeling warm and fuzzy, and you also are asking for their feedback so they can give you any constructive criticism. And it also ensures that the partnership lasts a lifetime. In that initial end of contract email, you also want to communicate any end of contract terms that might be needed. So make sure to reiterate any terms such as, we will reach out when we've sent the payment your way after the agreement terms have been met. Keeping open line of communication, especially about any type of payment, helps mitigate helps mitigate any confusion that might come up after the partnership. You're also going to want to repost content if you haven't already. Get the most mileage out of your partnership by reposting their content. Have them tag you in stories so you can repost them to your own stories, and ask them if they're able to share the feed post photo to you via email so that you can post them to your own feed with photo credit, of course. You're also going to want to invite them back. So if you are happy with the influencer and their content, consider mentioning that you'd love to partner again in the future. This makes it clear that you are pleased with the partnership, and hopefully will confirm that they were as well. And that's it.